Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to step into a world that might feel very different from our own. A world where a plant can be your ancestor and another one can literally be your executioner. We're going to explore a really profound crisis happening in West Papua, all through the eyes of the indigenous marine people.
Just listen to those lines for a second. That's a Marined elder, Marcus Gebze. And what you're hearing, it's not just poetry. It's this incredible testament to a connection with the land that runs deeper than life itself. And that connection, it all centers on one single sacred plant.
And this right here gets to the absolute heart of the story. This is about a clash, not just over land, but over reality itself. It's a conflict between two profoundly different kinds of palms and the two totally different worlds they represent.
So how do we know all this? Well, our guide for this journey is anthropologist Sophie Chao's really groundbreaking study in the shadow of the palms. It's through her incredible work that we can even begin to understand what's being called a more-than-human crisis.
Okay, so to really get what's at stake here, we first have to step into the world that is being lost. A world where life, culture, kinship, pretty much everything revolves around the sago palm.
So when Marcus Gebze's song says the oil palm killed our kin, I need you to understand that is not a metaphor. For the Marind, the sago palm is quite literally a relative, a living being that provides nourishment, a sense of community. It provides life itself.
You know, when we look at this image, we're not just seeing food being processed. This is an act of communion. The sago is this nurturing presence that gives them everything, food from its starch, water from its trunk, even the shade from its fronds to just rest under. And this deep relationship they have with sago, well, it actually extends out to the entire forest. See, for the Marind, the forest isn't some collection of resources you can just take from. No way. It's a community. It's a bustling society of relatives.
This idea is all wrapped up in a concept they call a mai. So each Marin clan shares a direct line of descent with specific plants and animals, and they call these beings their grandparents or their siblings. This creates this incredibly deep reciprocal bond of care and kinship. It's the very fabric of their society.
Okay, this slide, this lays it all out, the two opposing forces in this story. On one side, you have Dach, the sago palm. It's kin, a life giver. It's wet and nurturing and part of this big community. And on the other side, Sawit, the oil palm. It's an alien settler. It's voracious, destructive. It just devours everything and exists completely alone. These two beings, they just cannot coexist.
So you can imagine, when the oil palm finally arrived, it wasn't just seen as, industrial development. It was experienced as a violent invasion. And not just an invasion of their land, but of their very reality, an attack on the fundamental rules of how the world works. That's what's meant by an ontological invasion. And this is the new landscape. It's a world of monotonous, straight lines, and this, choking red dust. The Marland, they don't even call these things roads. They call them scars on the land, permanent wounds where a living, breathing forest once stood. This one single confrontation just captures the absolute essence of this invasion. A Marind elder, a man named Darius Mahuze, is stopped on his own ancestral land, and he's treated like a trespasser. To prove he even has the right to be there, he's asked for a state-issued ID card. His response, wow, it's just an unforgettable act of defiance. He rips out his hair, offering his own body as proof, and then he slices his own hand and smears his blood, the blood of his ancestors, the blood of the land itself, all over the company's register. In that one moment, his body becomes the only ID that matters. It's this visceral rejection of the corporation's rules, of their entire world.
So the aftermath of all this, of this invasion, it plunges the Marind world into a state they call abu-abu. And it's a concept that goes so much further than just a color.
See, abu-abu is the gray haze you see from the constant forest-clearing fires, for sure, but it's also a profound crisis of reality. It describes the state of deep, deep uncertainty, where the rules of the world just don't make sense anymore, where everything feels like it's shrouded in this menacing, opaque fog.
And the effects of living in this grayness are, well, they're surreal. They're world-breaking. The Myriads say that time itself has just stopped. The living, chaotic forest has become a rigid grid of straight lines. Their animal kin, the cassowaries, are described as turning into plastic, their skin drying out as the oil palms suck the land dry.
Even their sacred food is being replaced by cheap rice and instant noodles. Their entire reality is literally being unmade.
But this waking nightmare, it doesn't stop when they go to sleep. It starts to bleed into the sleeping world, creating this terrifying new front in this more-than-human war.
So here's a question for you. What happens when a plant starts to haunt your sleep? For the Marind, you see, dreams are not just symbolic. They are a real space of experience. And in that space, the oil palm has become an active, predatory force.
I mean, just imagine that for a second. Not just being chased, but being consumed by a plant. Dreamers describe these harrowing experiences of being tortured and killed over and over again by the oil palm, a plant they now see as an active, truly malevolent agent.
And here's what's so critical to understand. This goes way beyond just personal fear. In their nightmares, they experience the death of their entire world. They don't just die as themselves, they die through the eyes of their amai, their animal and plant relatives, as they are all consumed together by the plantations. But, and this is just incredible, out of all this shared terror, something totally new is born. By sharing these nightmares, by interpreting them as a community, they forge new bonds. They create what Sophie Chao calls oneric alliances, basically a solidarity of the haunted, binding them together in their collective suffering and ultimately their resistance.
And all of this leaves us with a really profound question, doesn't it? The Marind experience, it forces us to look beyond just human actors. It suggests that maybe violence isn't an exclusively human act. In a world where a plant can kill your kin, choke your rivers, and literally haunt your dreams, we have to ask ourselves, what does it mean when the perpetrator isn't human?